Hello and welcome. Ah, wonderful to see faces and to reconnect. I wanted to share with you as we're starting this morning the power of attention. We forget that our attention is not only such a gift to us, it's a gift to others. And the particular gift of attention, I just saw this quote from Henry Miller, a wild American writer. If you haven't read him, he is very lyrical about sex and nature, among other things. So here's what he says: the moment one gives close attention to anything, even a blade of grass, it becomes a mysterious, awesome, indescribably magnificent world in itself. So the power of attention creates magic, creates a sense of the becomingness that we are and not the fixedness that we often think that we are. And so the intention here of the loop of awareness and love scoops is to not only fill your own reservoir with the power of your attention, but learning to choose where to place your attention and to be able to shift your attention by choice, because that's really the pump of your aliveness. So rather than having to have adrenaline, I just thought up something last night, and Gay said, "Oh, that's a great tagline." It occurred to me in the middle of last night that adrenaline is a fossil fuel. Fear is a fossil fuel. I was hearing on just going by when I was driving yesterday that what's going on in our country right now, people are acknowledging that it's run by fear. This is all run by fear. And fear is the ultimate exogenous source caused from without. And so I think that our task is to claim the power of particularly our appreciative attention. And tying that in today to what you most enjoy about nature, I think sometimes of my attention as shining a light. So I think of it as turning like the attention of the sun towards something. But there's also attention like water, like rain, like a sprinkler, like filling a reservoir. So the flow of water, the flow of light, our attention has the power to both grow our ability to presence and to grow our ability to give the gift of our attention. Just think about someone's attention that you feel whenever they turn their attention towards you, you can just feel the nourishment of that. So let yourself just recall that someone that you know in your life that, or maybe they're not even here anymore, that when you've received their attention, it just, oh, it makes you bloom, blossom, expand. Yeah, I can see some of you already doing that. And I'd like you to let yourself then turn your attention toward the quality of that attention. What's the quality of that that's so nourishing for you? And would you be willing right now to give that to yourself? So think of that person, or it might be a place that where you go that you just always feel so nourished. And let yourself evoke that kind of attention just inside yourself right now. And I'd like you to let yourself scoop it up. Let's go ahead and use this as a love scoop. So, scoop up that quality of attention and give it to yourself anywhere in you that you most would like to receive attention today. And if you lose it, because sometimes that we haven't learned how to sustain that quality for ourselves, just go ahead and think of that person or place again until you're experiencing that quality of attention. Because here's what that is, that's love. That quality of attention, giving presence of to yourself and to others, that's the operational definition of love. So go ahead and spread out into that, whether it's the sun, it's the quality of rain, it's the quality of attention from someone that you, whose attention has so nourished you. Bring that inside and then scoop it up and give it anywhere, big or small, in your body where you want it. And you can do that by touching, by patting, by sprinkling, by drops of love. Yes. And let yourself soak it up. Hmm. I'm living in a part of the world that's currently in another drought. And so any moisture I want to be absorbed. And I take actions in my yard to make sure that the moisture is getting into the ground rather than runoff. So for you, does attention get absorbed or do you have runoff? Attention runoff, deficit attention runoff. So notice how it is that you let attention run off. So most of that is like, oh, I just couldn't possibly receive that. Oh, it really what didn't have anything to do with me. So let yourself get willing to receive. Ah. And where, if anywhere in you, do you have runoff? Do you let the attention just bounce off or run off rather than being absorbed? So, what could you do right now in yourself to make yourself more permeable to the nutrition of attention? And I imagine that you've gotten some filling up in you right now. So, let that love scoop now go out into the world. And since this is Memorial Day, if there's anybody that you know or a family that you know who is grieving today, let your attention go out to them, surrounding, landing and permeating, just being available to nurture. And take a couple of breaths with that. Beautiful. And then bring that back to you, scooping up some more love because there's always more. And then bringing it to you, any place in you. We're still in the pandemic and we're not going back to normal. And there is that wobble of, well, let's just ignore all that and just let's pretend we're going back to normal. I want to encourage you not to do that. I want to encourage you to let yourself be with the jangles, where one moment you just feel, wonderful, full, appreciative, available, and the next you feel you want to go in your closet and sleep all day. And that's all part of this wild ride that we're on right now. And what I find so helpful to even to me personally, to people I've encountered, is when I circulate my attention, I keep the flow of aliveness going. And that might involve my feeling or expressing or having a sense of things changing, having fear come up. And that's why we want to incorporate loop of awareness with love scoops, because even if things were working absolutely pristine, I just saw a picture the other day of just part of the universe with billions and billions of planets. And here we are on one teensy tiny one in the middle of all of this. So no wonder we're scared. We're like the ants on the anthill, wondering, you know, we think that the anthill is the whole universe and it's just an anthill in the vastness of all of the anthills. So we get scared. And letting your loop of awareness and your love scoops, and you can add in a little wiggling or a little sumo. In fact, you can let yourself change your posture in some way so that you're either doing sumo scoops or wiggle scoops. And each time notice, like I notice that I give more attention to the front of me than to the back of me. And so I like to have my love scoops also appreciate the back of me because I've got my back. So you can be swimming like swimming scoops and then giving that to the back of you. And appreciating also how the back of me, my hips, my butt, my feet, how they allow me to stand and to move forward in life. So letting yourself do love scoops for you, love scoops out into the world now for anybody who comes to mind, letting that your attention go out and land on them and permeate. Ah, landing and soaking in. And then love scoops landing and soaking in. Yeah, I use the model too of my cat Greta, who is the world's best receiver. She will come and she parks herself on my jewelry case, and that means it's time to come and brush me. And she will just stay there. We'll be brushing her, and she'll just stay there, and then she turns, and then she turns, and she will just keep receiving. So for me, there's always something that interrupts that, like I must get to work now, or there are important things that must be done. And then I remind myself, what is more important than the giving and receiving of attention? So if you have something in your life to remind you that your presence, that giving love and receiving love is the reservoir, it's the flow that allows us to then share and be with each other while we're on this wild ride. So also let yourself notice if there's any sound, if there's any nurturing sound. I love the and the is always really reliable. And today there may be another sound that's coming up for you that you want to add in to the giving and receiving. And take a last moment to see if there's any place in you that wants some more attention. Even if you've already just gotten some attention. And for those of you who can see, we've got a cat who's joining us and representing cat attention, which can always, basically plop down in the middle of everything and say, I am the most important thing here. Yeah. So give yourself a moment, just even because it's probably not usual for you to say, I am the most important thing here. And then just notice how your body responds to that. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Oh. So letting yourself open to giving. I know that you are all great givers, and opening to receiving. Beautiful.